Welcome to Dad's Watching Sports. It is episode 34, Sunday, September 27th. Welcome to the show. And guys, how are you doing out there? Kyle, I know you're right in the middle of your Saints plan tonight against the Green Bay Packers in Sunday Night Football. How are things looking for the Saints?
Right now, down 13-10 with just got the ball back. Held the Packers to punt, and hopefully Drew can do something in the next 2.5 minutes, roughly.
There you go. Well, hopefully, as people are listening to this throughout the week, they will be celebrating a Saints victory with yourself. And so, everybody can't be 3-0 like the Titans. But guys, we are broadcasting live on our Facebook page and the RTF Sports Network Facebook page. We are also, you can catch us anytime, anywhere if you download our show. And if you're doing that, we appreciate you for doing that. And if you do download the show, do us a huge favor. Give us a rate, review, do everything. We want to do that. TJ Burns says, hello, boys. TJ, your boys got a big win late last night. They held on against Vandy, which was a little bit of a surprise. So the Aggies held on there. We'll talk some SEC football in just a second. Matt, how are you doing, sir?
I'm great. How are y'all?
Man, we're hanging in there. We were hanging in there. So I mentioned RTF Sports Network. Guys, we got some exciting news. The RTF Sports Network is rebranding to the All Access Sports Network, which I'm very excited about. That means people get all access. But we're excited about that. And so stay tuned. If you're an RTF Sports Network fan, you've got a lot of great shows that you can check out on their streaming. And so if you do that, make sure you check out All Access because everything will be moving over in the next couple of weeks to that. But we're very excited to be a part of that moving forward. So, guys, a couple of things. We'll get kicked off right off the bat. We mentioned last week we've got a fundraiser that we're doing through the rest of the month. It is for St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. So if you're watching the show right now or if you're streaming with us, go to our Facebook page, which is just facebook.com/dadwatchingsports. You'll see it tagged at the top, our fundraiser for St. Jude. So go on, do that. If you're listening to the show, if you're in your car, don't do this while you're driving. But if you're listening to the podcast, pause it right this second. And then when you come back, you can listen to the rest of the show. But pause it right now and go to our Facebook page and make a donation to St. Jude's. We're going to do that through the end of the month, which is for the next 3 days. Our goal is $500. Guys, I know we're going to get there. Worst case scenario, be ready to pony up, boys. But anyways, guys, let's get into some topics. It is SEC football is finally here. Guys, we had a great weekend in weekend one. Kyle, just some initial thoughts on the first week of SEC football.
Look, everybody knows I am a Mississippi State fan, and is there any other game to talk about other than the Bulldogs going into Death Valley, Mike Leach's first game as an SEC head coach, and just beating the brakes off of the defending national champs?
That was quite the surprise. I don't know that a lot of people had LSU in that losing that game, and I think the biggest surprise was not only that Mississippi State won, but just the way that they did it. Kyle, you and I have watched a lot of Mississippi State football. I have never seen quite an air attack quite like they had in Baton Rouge on Saturday.
Yeah, I mean, I had flashbacks to about 1997, 98 with a guy named Tim Couch in white and blue slinging the ball all over the place.
Yes, that's right. Leach was his offensive coordinator under Hal Mumme, so it was they were definitely throwing the ball around a little bit there. Matt, your Hogs looked really good from the first half, and then the wheels kind of fell off against the Bulldogs there in Fayetteville.
Yeah, the offense has got to they got to get the ball moving a little bit. I feel like if we didn't have the ball 10 minutes, or if our defense wasn't on the field 10 more minutes than theirs, that we would have stood a better chance. But they were just stopping the run. We couldn't get the run game going, which hurt us.
Yeah, that it did. Well, we all made some picks going into week one. I'm going to put those up on the screen, and you can see kind of how we did. Everybody obviously lost the LSU game. We all picked LSU to beat Mississippi State. Kyle got a correct pick with the Tennessee Volunteers. They squeaked one out against South Carolina. That was actually a really good game. And then my beloved Wildcats fell to Auburn, and I missed that. So Kyle 6-1, Matt 5-2, and me 4-3. So Kyle got the early lead in our picks. How are you feeling coming off week one, Kyle?
Look, I have told y'all. I played college football, therefore I know it better than you.
Yeah. I don't know. I know you're not on social media, Kyle, but when we posted these picks originally on our Facebook page, somebody commented like, how can Kyle pick? I think it was your pick of Tennessee. And I responded with, well, come on, don't you know Kyle played college football. So he obviously is going to know who's going to end up being a better winner there.
And I was right.
Yeah, you got lucky. Garantano is trash either way you look at it, and so
Tennessee's 1-0, and your Cats are 0-1. So
just look who they played. Look who they played. We went on the road to the number 8 team in the country, and they played South Carolina, who probably will win 2 games.
And one of those will be over Arkansas if they play. I don't know if
they don't play South Carolina, you moron.
Well, good news for Arkansas: they don't have to lose to South Carolina. They'll lose to everybody else, though.
We'll see next week if you want to work on that crapper over there, Kyle.
You are absolutely right. We will see your offense that couldn't get anything going against a team that went down to Baton Rouge and put up 44 and threw for over 600 yards. Good luck.
Against a depleted LSU, yes.
And that depleted LSU is still going to beat the brakes off your Hogs.
I don't know about that either.
So let's step in. You guys are setting up perfectly for week 2 of SEC football. Let's look at kind of across the way of what we've got going on there. One of the first games that we'll have on the day is the Florida Gators take on, I believe it's the let me pull up and see who it is.
It's the Gamecocks.
The Gamecocks, yes. So Florida is hosting South Carolina. Kyle, who you have in that game?
Look, Kyle Trask, to me, looks like the Heisman Trophy favorite coming out of this week. And I think it keeps up against South Carolina, and Florida wins.
Matt?
I am going to go with Florida.
Okay. I'm going Florida as well. I think they'll kind of sweep across the board. The next game on the SEC network, that next Saturday, Missouri at Tennessee. Tennessee, again, coming off their win of South Carolina, Missouri, getting handled pretty well by Alabama. Anybody think Missouri stands a chance here?
No.
No, I don't either. I'll take the Vols on Rocky Top. The next game is a very intriguing game. You've got Texas A&M, who really struggled with Vandy, but Kellen Mond, Jimbo Fisher's got his team ready to go. They are at Alabama. It's the 2:30 CBS kickoff game of the week. Matt, I know TJ is probably going to comment here in just a second, but Matt, who you got? You got the Aggies or the Tide?
I'm very sorry, TJ, and I'm very sorry to my mother-in-law and to our former guest Peter, who is also an A&M grad. That Bama is going to eat them for lunch.
Well, TJ says just skip the Bama game. Sorry, TJ, we got to it already, my man. But I think it'll be as Lee Corso says. I think it'll be closer than the experts think. But I think Bama will end up winning that game too. Kyle, what do you think?
Yeah, I think A&M gets up for this one, and they keep it close for a while. But I think Bama just ends up at the end on top.
Yeah. My beloved Wildcats host the school up north, Kyle. Ole Miss comes into Lexington for a 4:00 SEC network kickoff. I got to go with my heart. There's no way I could possibly pick Ole Miss to win this game. So I think Kentucky bounces back after a poor showing at Auburn, at least in the second half. They get the running game going. They keep that Ole Miss offense off the field, and I think Kentucky ends up winning that game. It'll be close, but I think the Cats will win. Kyle, what do you think?
Yeah, so I love Ole Miss's powder. I'm a State fan, but I love that powder blue helmet. The powder blue jersey this past weekend didn't work for me.
Not to.
But nothing's going to work for them against the Cats. I think the Cats kind of roll over Ole Miss.
Nice. Matt?
I've got it, like what you said, Michael, by a small margin. I think they're going to get them by a small margin. That Kentucky is going to beat Ole Miss.
Guys, probably the best game of the weekend is if it's not that A&M Alabama game, is going to be Auburn at Georgia. 7:30 kickoff on ESPN. 2 top 10 teams. Kyle, who do you think is going to take it? It's one of the oldest rivalries in college football.
Yeah, I mean, I think Georgia kind of put it all together there in the second half. I think it took them a half to wake up and get their feet under them. New kid at quarterback who overcame like a brain surgery. He had a cyst in his brain. They had and missed last year too to it. So gave him a half. He woke up. The Georgia team woke up, and I think they beat Auburn in a fairly close game.
Matt, you got the War Eagle or you got the Dogs?
I hate that phrase War Eagle, but I'm going to go with Auburn because I feel like that the Auburn offense is a bit more explosive than Arkansas's, and I feel like they're going to be able to stretch them out. And I think Auburn also has one of the best defensive lines in college football.
Yeah, Auburn really looked good. I mean, Bo Nix, he's not going to put up just phenomenal numbers, but the guy's very consistent. He doesn't throw an interception. I think he's near 300 straight completions without an interception or attempts without an interception. So I think Seth Williams, I don't know if you saw the one-handed grab that he had in the second half against Kentucky, but that guy's a man. I'm going to take Auburn in a little bit of an upset pick in that game. Here is the battle that we've all been looking for, and I can't wait to discuss on next week's show. Arkansas at number 16, Mississippi State. Kyle, does Costello have another 600-yard game in him at the home opener at Scott Field, at Davis Wade Stadium at Scott Field?
Look, if you just look at all of the Mike Leach quarterbacks that have come out and put up big numbers, they don't put up big numbers one week and not the next. He's going to put up big numbers, and Arkansas is not going to be able to keep up. Hail State.
Matt, I have a feeling that you probably differ.
I do, yes, because I will say that Arkansas had 4 defensive backs out because of COVID who were on their second week of quarantine. So they will all be back next week. Hopefully, we don't have any more defensive backs or starters get COVID. And I hope hope that both teams are at full strength, so Kyle can't come in and complain, or I can't come in and complain when Arkansas or Mississippi State wins. But I do think the Hogs are going to win, honestly, in a bit of a landslide.
Okay, interesting. Well, I will. I'm going to say Mississippi State. I don't think they put up the numbers that they did in Baton Rouge, but I think State pulls out. I think State pulls out at least a 10-point win against Arkansas. Guys, the last game on the SEC slate for next weekend, LSU looking to bounce back after losing to Mississippi State. They're at Vandy, where there will be no fans, and there never are really any fans, so it doesn't really matter. I'm going to take LSU. I'll take the Tigers by 34. I think they punish Vandy in this game. They're taking out their frustrations after that loss to Mississippi State. I think they just absolutely destroy Vandy. Matt.
I honestly think it's going to be close, but I think LSU is going to come away. But I feel like that Vanderbilt defense has gotten pretty stout.
Kyle?
Yeah, I don't think it matters how stout that Vandy defense is. I think LSU comes out. I'm not going to say it's going to be a 34-point game, but I think LSU comes in and beats up on Vandy pretty well.
Well, it's like the Arkansas game. Who would have thought that it would be Arkansas would have been ahead at halftime, and then the wheels fall off. So it's all about your depth.
Yeah. So here's our picks for week 2. Kyle, again, in the lead by 1 game and 2 games over me. We'll see how we fare. In the in week 2, guys, and we'll see what goes on from there. All right, we've got just about a minute and a half before break, and then we'll come back and we'll get a little bit more into this. But guys, we are heading right into Major League playoffs. It's kind of crazy. They're going to have more teams this year than they've ever had before, where they've got double the wild cards. So just really quickly here, we'll get a quick any surprises just on who's made it to the postseason so far, Kyle.
Hey, the Padres, baby.
That's right.
The Padres, baby.
Matt?
Honestly, it kind of seemed like that the Cardinals barely got in. That's one team that I'm surprised to see there that I think can make a little bit of noise.
Yeah, I mean, I think the easy pick is the Padres, but the fact that the Rays really kind of ran away with the AL East and are looking to potentially be the number 1 seed, if not, I can't remember if they've got that clinched already or not, but the Rays, I think the White Sox did not see that happen, and then the Marlins, who had the Marlins making the playoffs off of the way, not only how they've played in what seems like the past decade, but then also with all the COVID stuff that was happening to them kind of off the bat. So, guys, we're going to go to a break here in just a second. When we do come back, we will touch a little bit more on Major League Baseball playoffs, and we'll talk a little more here on Dad's Watching Sports. And we've also got to get into some WWE topics, Kyle. I'm looking forward to our top 10 tag teams of all time. We will be back here on Dad's Watching Sports in just 1 second. Y'all stick with us. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, the Dad's Watching Sports podcast has some exciting news for you. You guys have heard us talk about the RTF Sports Network. You can check out our show there, streaming each and every week on their Facebook page. And, of course, our podcast on Tuesdays and Thursdays at 11 a.m. Eastern. Well, the RTF Network is rebranding to the All Access Sports Network. We're super excited about this and looking forward to providing our listeners all access to the world of sports, and in our case, dad life. Stay tuned for more information about the All Access Sports Network. And we're back here on Dad's Watching Sports. Michael Draper, Matt Kirk, Kyle Castles. Guys, we'll get into it in just a few minutes, but you heard that intro music bringing us in from the break, and that is the Road Warriors / Legion of Doom theme song. Road Warrior Animal passed away this past week. John Laurinaitis, his son James, played for the Ohio State Buckeyes, and so we'll definitely touch on that here in just a minute. But wanted to get back into some MLB talk, the playoffs, before we move on, because we didn't really get a lot of that in really quickly. So, guys, the field is kind of set in terms of the wild cards and then everything going on after that. If you look across this kind of the first round, Matt, any upset picks you got there?
I think the Cardinals are going to make a run. So that's who I've got going on around. I feel like they got in on a little bit of luck, and I feel like that's going to carry over for them.
Kyle?
Look, I don't have a problem with that Cards pick other than I'm a Cubs fan. I just couldn't make the pick. So thank you, Matt, for making it. But the ones I can make, in the NL, I think the Reds beat the Braves in the first round because it's the Braves and they just don't win in the postseason. And then I like the Blue Jays over the Rays in the first round.
Okay, nice. Very nice. Well, you got mine. I've got the Reds over the Braves. I think one, because like you said, it seems like the Braves always struggle when it comes to playoff baseball. And the Reds, I mean, really, if you look at their top three starters, including a Murfreesboro or Smyrna, Tennessee product, Sonny Gray, the Reds have a great pitching staff to really kind of get them. If they can get those three guys going 1, 2, 3 and get some wins, I think the Reds could really make a very surprising run here. So I'll go the Reds in the upset pick. Guys, last topic on Major League Baseball. Now that we have kind of a picture of what the playoffs are going to look like, we'll give you a chance to audible here in terms of your World Series picks. Kyle, I'm going to go to you first. Who do you have go into the World Series? We won't talk about who wins, but who do you have in the Fall Classic?
I still got to go with just the most talent, and to me, that's still the Yankees and Dodgers. So I may kick myself for that, but I'm sticking with my pick.
Okay, I'm gonna change my pick completely, and it's not because I've watched a tremendous amount of baseball and have some insider info. It's just because I feel like it. So, Kyle, I'm actually going with your Cubbies. I'm going to take the Cubs, and I'm going a little Cinderella story, at least in terms of not a mainstream name. I'm going the Twins. Playing the Cubs in the World Series, which I would be very excited about. Matt, who do you have for your World Series pick?
I am going to go with two teams that probably a little bit of a wild card here, but
okay.
Well, not a little bit, it is. But I'm going to go with the Indians, and I'm going to go with the Cardinals.
Indians and Cardinals. Okay.
Indians and Cardinals.
There we go. All right. Well, that'll be interesting. We'll see kind of how that plays out over the next couple of weeks, and we'll see what happens. TJ says Marlins for the win. Hey, the Marlins, man, they could sneak in. They've kind of surprised everybody getting in so far. Guys, let's shift gears to some WWE. I just talked about it as we were coming back from the break. Road Warrior Animal, we lost him. We'd already lost Road Warrior Hawks at the Legion of Doom, now celebrating and beyond the pearly gates. Kyle, Legion of Doom, just like a top-notch. You think of tag teams across the WWE, WCW, whatever you want to call it. You know, I don't know if it was just the face paint or the spikes on the shoulder pads, but those guys were just awesome. So really sad to hear the news about Laurinaitis passing away.
Man, it was the face paint. It was the spikes on the shoulder pads. It was the way they carried themselves in the ring. It was the fact that, I mean, you could just watch them and like they are just two legit tough guys that you really didn't want to mess with. They were special. They were absolutely special.
And I'm not sure if Georgia was paying homage to them or not this weekend, but they have their little turnover pads with the spikes on their shoulder pads.
Well, they've done that for a few years. But that's definitely where they got the idea.
Oh, for sure.
I don't watch Georgia.
But. The one question I kept on kind of going back to over the weekend when I first heard the news was they were the Road Warriors first and then switched to the Legion of Doom, I believe. Kyle, do you know anything about why they made that change?
Well, so anytime Vince McMahon brings new talent in, he likes to change their name or get them to sign off on him using their name to make money in perpetuity. And so the Road Warrior name they didn't want to give up, so he changed them to Legion of Doom, and it worked. But I mean, they're always the Road Warriors.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, guys, that led me to the topic of tag teams across all of wrestling. This isn't just WWE/WWF. This is all of wrestling. If you want to go New Japan Pro Style Wrestling, Kyle, I'm sure you might throw somebody in from some obscure wrestling, Mid-South, the Saturday mornings Memphis Wrestling tag team at some point in time here. But, guys, we're looking at our top 10 wrestling tag teams of all time. We'll go 10 through 6 and then 5 through 1. I'll go ahead and start us off. So my number 10, I've got the Hollywood Blondes. If you're not familiar with them, just think Stone Cold before he became Stone Cold, and a little man known as his name's escaped, Flying Brian Pillman, the Hollywood Blondes. I've got them as number 10. Number 9, I've got the Rockers, Shawn Michaels before he was Shawn Michaels. The number 8, I've got Demolition, who are a fantastic tag team. Number 7, the Rock and Roll Express. And then number 6, Kyle, probably one of my favorites, if not my favorite tag team. They're not the best, but one of my favorites, the Steiner Brothers at number 6. So Kyle, I'll let you go number 10 through number 6 for us.
Well, you mentioned a few of mine. So at number 10, I got the Rock and Roll Express.
Nice.
Number 9, I got the Steiner Brothers. Number 8, one that you didn't mention. In the WWF, they were called the Brain Busters. In the NWA, I think they were just Arn and Tully. So Arn Anderson and Tully Blanchard. Part of the Four Horsemen, they were the tag team, and they were great.
Yeah.
So what's that? 10, 9, 8, 7. I got Edge and Christian. Kind of coming back to some of the newer stuff. And at 6, I got the Hardy Boys, and those two teams, along with another team that I will mention when we go 1 through 5 or 5 through 1, they changed what tag team wrestling looked like.
Yeah, absolutely. I think I'm on the same wavelength with you there. Matt, who's your 10 through 6?
All right, so 10, I've got the Twin Towers.
Okay.
And then I've got the Quebecers.
Ooh, okay, nice.
And you got to have these. You got to have the Bushwhackers.
Okay.
And you got to have the Steiners. Yep.
Okay.
Then I got the Steiners, and then I got the Hart Foundation.
Hart Foundation. Okay, so rounding out your top 6. All right. So my 5 through 1. Actually, we'll do 5 through 4, and we'll go around, and everybody can reveal their. Well, no, we'll just do 5 through 1. My number 5, Kyle, you mentioned them. I've got Edge and Christian at number 5. Number 4, again, this is more of just like I love these guys as opposed to that they're really all that great. But number 4, I've got the Nasty Boys out of WCW. Number 3 is another Boys. I've got the Dudley Boys at number 3. Just the things that they did to those tables, ladders, and chairs, and the fact that they put that old woman through the table one time just blew my mind. Number 2, I do have the Road Warrior / Legion of Doom. And then my number 1 tag team of all time, if you can feel the heat, sucker, I'm talking Harlem Heat, Booker T and Stevie Ray, accompanied by Sister Sherry. I've got the Harlem Heat as my number 1. Kyle.
So, be honest. The only reason you have Harlem Heat number 1 is because Booker T let it slip and he called Hogan the N-word on TV, right?
Despite that,
Let's see, where am I? Number 5. So number 5, I have the team who had the longest tag team championship run in WWF in the 80s, and that's Demolition.
Okay.
Number 4, a team that really not transcended, but transformed tag team wrestling and made it much more athletic, and that's the British Bulldogs with Davey Boy Smith and Dynamite Kid.
Nice.
Did some really innovative stuff there in the early to mid 80s. Number 3, the only tag team that held the ECW tag titles, the WWF tag titles, and the WCW tag titles, and that is the Dudley Boys. Number 2, I have the Harlem Heat. And then lastly, the greatest tag team of all time. And I say that because there is a saying in wrestling that is the Road Warrior pop. And so a pop in wrestling is how loud the crowd gets. And when you talk about a Road Warrior pop, it's the loudest, one of the loudest pops you could hear. And so they are the number 1 tag team.
There we go. Matt, your number 5 through 1 tag teams of all time.
All right, 5, I got the Legion of Doom, the Jimmy, and I can't remember his brother's name, but the Uso twins.
Okay.
Jay.
I've got the Rock and the Sock.
Nice.
And I will get to this story actually in our last segment, but the New Age Outlaws.
Okay. Yeah.
And then I've got DX.
DX is number 1. Matt, you must have been comparing notes with TJ. He said no Rock and Sock connection, Brothers of Destruction or the APA. Rock and Sock, that's hilarious. I forgot all about the fact that Mankind had the little Mr. Socko thing. That's pretty darn funny. So,
and Michael, I'll tell you, one thing I'll never forget about Mankind was when we saw him at Sports Fest in Nashville.
That's
and
right.
He told me I had to sign a waiver for him to put me through a table.
That's right. He wasn't going to do it, man. We were like, come on, Mick. Get our guy through the table there. Guys, we are going to bypass the Tyrod Taylor stuff because we just don't have the time. So let's get into any quick takeaways from week 3. Kyle, I know you're watching your Saints right now, but any other takeaways from NFL week 3?
Yeah. So I think I came in either after the first week or second week. I talked about Mitch Trubisky, and then he gets pulled, and Nick Foles comes in, and so I was wrong.
Matt, takeaways from NFL week 3. What do you got?
Man, I tell you, the Falcons cannot get it done when it counts. They play good all game long. They've blown 2 big leads. I don't know what is going on with them, but they got to get it fixed quick.
That they do. Yeah, they just have a knack for blowing those big leads. I will be completely honest with you guys. I watched about 30 seconds of NFL football today. I just had a lot of other stuff going on and didn't get a chance. I did see I guess this side see that the Titans got their 3rd win in 3 games. So looking forward to the Monday night game tomorrow night, the Ravens and the Chiefs, which I think will be pretty entertaining. Guys, we got 2 minutes here before we go to break, and we're going to be joined by Pat Thomas after the break, and we'll kind of get into that after the break. But we are just a few days away from the NBA Finals. The Lakers have already punched their ticket. They beat the Nuggets 4-1 in that series last night. Right now, the Heat are up 15, or make that 13 with 1 minute and 50 seconds left. So it looks like it could be Lakers and Heat. So we'll just, for the fact of this show, we're going to assume a Laker Heat final. We got 1.5 minutes. Matt, your thoughts?
Well, I can already tell you who I think is going to win because, I guess it doesn't matter at this point. But I do not want the Los Angeles Lakers to win. I want the Heat to win.
Kyle.
Lakers are going to win. It didn't matter if the Celtics or the Heat came out.
Well, I don't know, man. I mean, the Lakers, I think, definitely have the more talent. I mean, I don't think there's any doubt about that when you've got 2 of the best players in the world with LeBron, and then AD. Their supporting cast has not been that great, but I think the Lakers are definitely the more talented team. But, man, when you look at the Heat, they've lost 3 games the entire playoffs, 2 or 3. They're not selfish. They move the ball around. It can be Jimmy Butler. It can be Tyler Hero. It can be Bam. They can get it done from a lot of different places. I think I'm going with the Heat. Yes, Matt.
That was 4. They've lost 4 games.
Okay.
But they doubled their losses this past series to Boston.
Yep, that they did. All right, guys, we're going to go to a quick break. When we come back, we're going to be joined by Pat Thomas. Pat's the dad of a good friend of ours, Ashton, and we're going to be joined by him here in just a few minutes when we get back from this commercial break. But we will be back with Pat on Dad's Watching Sports. Y'all stick with us, and we're going to talk a little bit more about some sports talk. We'll be right back after this break. Coming up next week on episode 35 of Dad's Watching Sports, fall is officially here and the dads talk about their favorite fall festivities. Plus, with the wild card series completed, we'll touch on the AL and NL division series as the MLB playoff bubble takes full effect. And in honor of Trump v. Biden, we'll bring back the dad debate. This time it's all three dads as we debate some of the hottest topics in our lives in the world of sports. That and more on next week's episode of Dad's Watching Sports. All right, guys, we are joined now by Mr. Pat Thomas. Pat, how are you, sir?
Hello, gentlemen. Thank y'all for having me with you this evening.
Absolutely, Pat. We're just we're so glad to have you on. And this was kind of Matt's idea. And Matt, I'll toss it to you in just a second. But Pat, I know it's a tough time, and so we just can't thank you enough to come on and talk to us a little bit about Ashton and just the awesome life that he lived. But Matt, I'll kind of toss it over to you first, and then we'll just kind of get rolling here.
Well, Pat, again, I echo what Michael said. I appreciate you taking your time to come on here. I know it's a really hard day for you, and as the three of us, we do anything in the world for you, and we love you to death, and we loved Ashton. And we love the legacy he left behind. I can't say that enough. I laugh all the time. I tell Emma stories about Ashton almost every day.
Oh, yes, sir. You have a few to share.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
You definitely have a few to share. Like I say, I can't thank you guys enough. Big heartfelt, high five, fist bump, whatever. It was cool out there with you younger gentlemen. Me being an old guy, I'm still kind of catching up. So
there we go. Well, Pat, we're thrilled to have you on, and just for our listeners' sake, so Ashton was a good friend of Matt and I. He worked with us at the YMCA back in the day. I will be honest with you, he was one of my favorite employees, and I'm not just saying about that because you're his dad. I mean, we just had a really cool bond. We bonded over Kentucky sports and the fact that we both love sports, and I could just see as somebody who watched him with young people and just the way he interacted with them, he definitely changed my life for the better. I know that he made me a little bit more calmer and made me realize that it's not always about the bottom line with work and doing all this and that. You gotta make sure that you're impacting young people's lives as well. And so unfortunately we lost Ashton 6 years ago to an automobile accident, and so we wanted to bring Pat on just to remember him and to talk, about some fun stories that we had with Ashton and just to kind of reminisce. And so, Pat, again, we appreciate you coming on. I know Ashton was a big sports fan, so tell us about maybe some big some memories or stories you have about Ashton and his love for either his teams or just sports in general.
Well, like I say, he was a big sports guy. Started him out when he was T-ball when he was 4 years old. He started taking him tailgating at Kentucky football games. Again, not a rich man, so football it was. So 6, 7 years old, started taking him tailgating. We went to a few away games, but we made the jaunt every weekend up to UK, and we had some family up there and stayed with them, and we did some awesome tailgating, and he did have a lot of good times. Like I say, when he got older, he started playing T-ball about 4, but he got kind of burnt out about 11 or 12. So that was kind of it for baseball. But then came the round ball. Okay. And which Kentucky is most famous for. And 3 years of Kentucky basketball camps, all with Tubby Smith. And Tubby. Yes, it was Patino's team. If anybody wants to,
Pat, no, you're killing me there. Come
get
on.
in there.
No. I love Tubby.
Yeah, great guy. Actually, I met him every year just to do that on his own time. He didn't have to. Was a pretty good testament. So we Mr. Ashton went to a Kentucky basketball camp for 3, maybe even 4 years, if I don't remember. So there he did perfect. And you gentlemen, I don't know if you play a little, on the court with him, but he did have a awesome form and jump shot. I'm not kidding. He
could knock down the threes for sure.
Yeah, he nailed it. Unfortunately, Mother Nature didn't bless him with a lot of height. So, being 5'6", don't really put you in a upper echelon of, basketball playing or positions. So, but he did love the sports. We got to go to a couple Braves games, so we can throw some baseball in there. Another mutual friend of yours and Y partner he ran around with was Chris Beverly, so he did get to meet some of the Titan folks here and there. So, he pretty much cared for every sport, except I never did get him involved in soccer. So, it is what it is. But, all the other sports, yeah, he was diehard fan, loved it.
Well, something that Matt and I can attest to is what we saw later on in his life was his ability to coach sports. Matt, I know you've got probably a really good story about that here in just a second, but I worked with Ashton and Matt and I both did running youth sports for the YMCA. And again, man, just to see the way he interacted with kids and doing this sometimes as a paid staff, but then a lot of times it's just a volunteer, and the way he invested in those kids, it really meant a lot to me as someone who was a supervisor, but then also just, I was really impacted by it because again, I could always count on him to, if we needed somebody to open up the skate park, or if we needed somebody to coach a soccer team or coach a basketball team, Ashton was the first one to definitely volunteer to do that. And Matt, I know you've got some fun stories of him coaching some basketball back in the day.
Yeah, and it's just so funny because there was this one kid, I'll never forget it. I can't remember his name now to save my life. I believe his name was Kyle, but he was probably the most unathletic kid. He couldn't shoot a basketball to save his life. And I'm telling you, that kid was very uncoordinated, didn't know what he was doing. Ashton took a very special interest in this kid, and he helped him with his shot, and he went home and he worked on it religiously. And I'm talking, he did it like it was a job. He shot every single day. His mom told us he shot every single day, 100 to 200 shots a day. And he got better. And by the end of the season, I'll never forget this. It was in the playoffs, and we were going to go to the finals if we hit free throws. There was a technical, and he called on that kid to shoot the free throws. When we had, Michael, what was probably arguably the best player in YMCA basketball history on our team.
Yeah.
And he lets this kid shoot the free throws. And there's no one else on the floor. I think there's like 3 seconds left. And we're down 1, and the kid hit the first one, and then everyone got quiet, and that kid came up and he said, "Coach, you have to let me shoot this last one." And he was saying that to me and Ashton, and the kid throws up the shot and sinks it, and then we go on to win the YMCA championship by a landslide.
Yes, you did.
That was the coolest thing I had ever seen in my life.
Yeah,
and he had so much faith in that kid. And that's all he needed was someone to be confident in him. That's all he needed. And Ashton was that guy. He came on our team that next year, and he played on that team that I coached with Cody the year after the accident happened. And he was just so excited to be a part of that with Ashton's name on those jerseys. He was so proud.
Yeah, that was a good story. I remember. In fact, I have the plaque. It's hanging in my office when y'all won that. So that's a very good story.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
I've got one more sports story. Then I know Kyle wants to talk about a hot tub at a certain bachelor party. So my favorite like sports fan memory, I guess, with Ashton is it was 20. Let me think about this. 2013. It would have been early 2014. That spring, and it was right before he was about to go off to was a basic training, and Kentucky was playing Louisville in the Sweet 16. Kentucky had a really up and down year. Louisville was the defending national champion, even though they stripped them of that title here lately. And we watched that game in our apartment, and we both knew that we were Kentucky fans, but when Ashton rolled up wearing a UK jersey, and then he walked in and I had mine on, and it was just like, okay, let's do this. And then UK ended up winning. Aaron Harrison hit a huge three to let UK win. They were the 8th seed, and Louisville, I think, was the 2 seed. And so it was awesome. It propelled UK to go on to the Final Four in the national championship game. And I just will never forget that. Just having a good UK bro moment with Ashton there, and to see the Cats win was even an icing on the cake. Yeah, Matt.
I believe I was there, Michael. I think I was wearing your Paul Mashburn jersey.
You were. That's right. I forgot about that. Yeah.
And we went to Kroger, and they told us to. I can't remember what the person said at Kroger, but they were cracking jokes on us wearing jerseys, grown men wearing jerseys in Kroger.
Yeah. That's probably pretty accurate about grown men wearing jerseys. No comment, Kyle. So Kyle, again, we won't go into all the details from this bachelor party just for my sake, but I know that was one of the first times that or maybe in the first time that you had a chance to meet Ashton, so I'll let you go from there.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure your bachelor party was the first time I met him, and I mean, when you meet him, you fall in love with him. He was a great dude, and he loved himself some hot tub. Like, we couldn't get him out of the daggum hot tub. Like, some of us wanted to go out to eat for dinner, and he wanted to stay in the hot tub. So I don't, it was awful what happened 6 years ago, but it was a pleasure to know him for the short time that I did.
And I have one more story, Michael. Is it okay?
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. So I hate to do this, or I hate to cut in here and interrupt this, but I got to tell this. One thing Ashton loved to do, he loved to make the Smyrna loop in his Jeep. And me and him and Barry, or me, him and Michael, or Cody would join us sometimes, or just, we would just see if random people we knew would want to go. Sometimes Kevin would go with us. But he loved to stop at that Sonic over there on the other side of Smyrna from Sam Ridley. And we would stop in there and get ice cream cones, and we would drive around. And I'll never forget, one time we were doing it, we were in my truck, and we were we're riding spinners. And I hit the brakes real hard on that, on that scourge part. And I did it, and he was putting his ice cream cone up to his face, and it hit him in the nose.
That blue Jeep was something. I'm glad it wasn't raining because you would have gotten wet, because most likely he didn't pay attention to the weather and he had the top off. So, that's another story there, working at the Y, like I say, he wasn't much on weather forecasting. And rain or shine, top would be off. So there were several times parking under the pavilion, so that was pretty good.
Absolutely,
good. Yeah.
Well, we're going to get into a little more talk, Pat. I specifically here in a few minutes want to talk about AMT Day because I think that's just something really cool that you guys have really put together. But I wanted to know if you would do us the honor. We have gone over the past couple of weeks. We put together a cereal bracket, and so this bracket we picked 32 cereals. That you kind of normally would see, in the shelves or in your pantry. We ranked them just like a NCAA tournament bracket, and we kind of had them go into head-to-head. And we came up with our final 4 cereals in a head-to-head matchup, and you can see them on the screen here. We've got Cinnamon Toast Crunch, who is the number 1 overall seed, Captain Crunch, Fruity Pebbles, and Golden Grams. So if you'll entertain us here and help us pick a cereal bracket champion, we'd be much obliged.
Well, sure.
All right. Well,
sure,
let's do
Mike.
it.
Let's see.
So let's go with we'll go with the first matchup: Cinnamon Toast Crunch versus Captain Crunch. Pat, if you want to give us your vote first, and then we'll just go round robin here and do votes.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go with the cinnamon, boys. Captain's got the crunch, but you throw the cinnamon crunch on there, it's one up. So I got to go with the big dogs on the cinnamon toast crunch there.
There we go. Yeah, man, you sound like a professional here in your breakdown of the Cinnamon Toast versus Captain Crunch. Kyle, Cinnamon Toast Crunch, did they get a 2-0 lead here against Captain Crunch, or is Captain Crunch making a comeback?
Look, Pat broke everything down exactly like it should be. So give me Cinnamon Toast Crunch.
All right, Matt. Do they make does Captain Crunch make a comeback here?
There's no comeback, Michael. This is just like what happened to I'm not even going to say it. Never mind. This is what happens. These teams get up big, and then they just put their foot on the throat, and we're going with the Cinnamon Toast Crunch.
All right, Cinnamon. I would have voted Cinnamon Toast Crunch for a 4-0 sweep as well, but this one I think is going to be a little bit closer than the experts think. Fruity Pebbles, the 2 seed, against the other 2 seed, Golden Grams. Kyle, I'll let you go first. Fruity Pebbles or Golden Grams?
So we went out Friday night as a family, because this is what you do on a Friday night as a dad with 3 kids and the oldest being 5, is you go out and you buy boxes of cereal to make sure you have your choices correct. I had to go with Cinnamon Toast Crunch, 1, because it's better, and 2, because Captain Crunch has coconut oil in it, and my 3-year-old is highly allergic to tree nuts, which includes coconut, so we couldn't buy that. But we bought the other 3, and I tasted Golden Grams and Fruity Pebbles Friday night, and I know for sure Golden Grams is better.
Okay, I'll go with the second vote here. So we did the same thing in the Draper household. We bought all 4. I let my kids taste them as well. And it was kind of a consensus across the board that Fruity Pebbles was a fan favorite in the Draper household, especially amongst my kids. So I'm going Fruity Pebbles with the win here. That's 1-1. Matt, what do you think? And then we'll let Pat either break the tie or make us a tie or pick us a winner.
I am going to go with the Golden Grams myself. I've always loved those as a kid.
Okay, yeah, Pat, you can either tie us up or you can send Golden Grams on to the championship.
Okay. Well, gentlemen, comparing the 2 cereals, you just can't go wrong with Fred and Barney. I'm here to say, the Golden Graham sounds like nothing against its taste, but I think there was an old lady show about Golden Graham. So
there we go.
I'm going to have to go all in with the Fruity Pebbles.
Okay. Fruity Pebbles, we are tied at 2-2. So Kyle, I already said the Draper kids were on board with Fruity Pebbles. What did your kids go with? We'll let the kids vote here.
Well, I was actually shocked. We poured all the cereals in 3 little bowls, and they had to they go around and share them.
Did you do a blind taste test?
We did not do a blind taste test, no. But it was interesting. When they got done, was there any Cinnamon Toast Crunch left? No. Was there any Fruity Pebbles left? No. Was there Golden Grams left? And did I finish the bowl of Golden Grams? Yes.
Okay.
So they definitely chose Fruity Pebbles over Golden Grams. Okay,
so the kids are going to take Fruity Pebbles on to the championship. So, guys, we have got in the championship. Oh, TJ was going to vote. I tell you what, TJ, if we get a 2-2 split tie, TJ, because you're such a good listener, supporter of this show, we're going to let you give the deciding vote. But we got a final here, guys, of Fruity Pebbles versus Cinnamon Toast Crunch. Matt, I'm going to let you vote first.
All right. For sure this one, home run, grand slam, walk off. We're going with the Cinnamon Toast Crunch again.
Okay, Cinnamon Toast Crunch. I'll vote next, and it might have seemed like it was going to be a walk off, Kyle or Matt, but it was actually robbed at the track. So I'm going Fruity Pebbles with the big upset. Kyle, I'm going to toss it to you for the third vote.
Well, when I saw the Final Four, I was hoping for Cinnamon Toast Crunch and Golden Grams, because really the only difference is the Cinnamon Toast Crunch has cinnamon on top of it.
Yep.
And that makes it better, and therefore Cinnamon Toast Crunch for the win. Pat, make it right.
All right, Pat.
Okay, gentlemen. A tough choice. But the facts are the facts. Unfortunately, I'm thinking all weather conditions and climates. The Cinnamon Toast Crunch is going to do much better during the winter months. Kids liking cinnamon and so forth. So I've got to go with the Cinnamon Toast Crunch for the win here. Sorry, Fred and Barney, but you're more of just a summertime only there, gentlemen. Where the Cinnamon Toast Crunch, I believe, is a more well-rounded seasonal cereal.
We like it. And TJ votes Cinnamon Toast Crunch. So the winner of the inaugural Dads Watching Sports cereal bracket is the number 1 overall seed. We were chalk most of the way and we're chalk to the end. The number 1 overall seed, Cinnamon Toast Crunch, is the winner. Pat, thank you for helping us there. Guys, we've got just a few minutes left. Pat, so I really wanted to quickly toss it to you just to tell the listeners a little bit about AMT Day, kind of how you guys came up with it and what it means and what people could do, even though it's technically today, but what people could just do any day and kind of in memory of Ashton. Sure.
It, when he was taken, and you've shared a few stories, want your listeners know that, he cared. It didn't matter who you were, what situation, he cared. He was serving his country, everything from serving his country to helping little kids at the Y. I mean, you can't get a better range of, goodness, kindness, support than that. So, when he was taken, it was actually his aunt, my sister. We wanted to have something to pay it forward type, do some good deeds, do what he did, help people, good to people. So she actually came up because she used his initials. So we came up with Acts Made Thoughtfully, AMT, Ashton Martin Thomas, Acts Made Thoughtfully. So they kind of went hand in hand. Big shout out to my sis that, for coming up with that. So it's just something, just like a pay it forward. It's for something that you do. You can do it knowingly or have the person know it, but more important, it's just for something to do something good for somebody else. Whether you buy somebody lunch, you go help at a senior citizen home. I mean, across the board, anything that is a good deed. And gentlemen, especially in this time, we are in dire need of a lot more good deeds and care for one another. I just hate that, what the world or society is, especially for the little ones these days. But that's what, we just wanted to do something good for someone else, no matter how small or how big. And that's how that came about. Like I say, I typically try to do something for our military, our troopers that are serving. But like I say, it's anything. Come on, one of his college friends, she went and sang for senior citizens at a senior home. You can just buy somebody lunch. It's wide open. Anything you can do just to help somebody, be a good person. And without anything, in return. That's it. Just to do it because you want to do it. And that's how that came about.
Yeah. Well, I think it's awesome that y'all were able to put that together in his honor. And like you said, I mean, this is Ashton to a T. It's helping other people and not expecting anything in return, but just because that's out of the goodness of your heart. So,
right.
Well, we've got to get out of here, Pat. We can't thank you enough for joining us. I know it's it's a tough day. It's been a tough time, right. I know, but we can't thank you enough just to come on and help us honor Ashton in any way we can, and to continue his legacy that way. And we think about you and pray for you guys all the time, and we thank you so much for joining us on the podcast.
Gentlemen, you keep it up. Like I say, with friends, it is a true testament of friendship that y'all are still remembering my son 6 years. That is awesome. That is awesome. Love you guys to death. You keep doing what you're doing. Live your life the way you've been living, because every one of you are doing a good thing.
Well, thanks, Pat. Well, guys, we got to get out of here. This has been Dad's Watching Sports. We'll see you next week. Y'all take care.